The girl Caroline is playing the game left for dead at home, but her teammate suddenly says that there is a zombie outbreak outside. Caroline thinks it's just a prank from her teammate, but as soon as she takes off her headphones, she hears a dense alarm ringing outside. She pulls back the curtains and sees a military helicopter whizzing by. The game has turned into reality. Caroline immediately pushes open her sister Joe's door.
It's the end of the world!
But Joe, who is about to get busy, is very annoyed. Obviously, she doesn't believe in any apocalypse and complains that her sister has interrupted her good time. Little did they know that in the midst of their conversation, Joe's boyfriend on the bed had already mutated. Before they could figure out what was happening, the zombified boyfriend pounced on Joe, choking her neck. They were instantly frightened and screamed in terror. Caroline quickly jumped onto the bed, covered the zombie's vision with a blanket, and immediately rushed out of the room, closing the door behind her. At this moment, Caroline was unusually excited. She could finally fight zombies in reality, but Joe next to her was very panicked. Caroline told her not to worry, saying that zombies can't open doors. However, they didn't expect that the zombie would break down the door the next second. They were scared and ran downstairs, but as they stepped outside, Caroline suddenly stopped because she thought zombies wouldn't be able to go down the stairs. However, they saw the zombie rolling down the stairs and breaking its neck, but it quickly stood up and was back to normal with a simple twist. This horrifying scene made them not dare to stop for a moment. However, they didn't expect the streets to be even more dangerous, with zombies everywhere, and the whole city had already fallen. They were lucky that the zombies were not fast-moving like those in World War Z, but more like those in The Walking Dead. As a seasoned zombie game and movie enthusiast, Caroline drew a conclusion that most zombies cannot swim. Therefore, all they needed to do was to find a boat to survive and escape Birmingham down the canal, which would be a perfect way to avoid the zombie attack. After sharing her plan, Caroline couldn't resist taking a jab at Rick, saying that if he had half her intelligence, The Walking Dead wouldn't have lasted so many seasons. Luckily, Joe's ex-boyfriend had a boat, so they made their way to the dock and found the big red boat. However, when they reached the cabin, they found out that Joe's ex-boyfriend's current girlfriend was in there, but she had already turned into a zombie. As the zombie stumbled towards them, they ran towards the stern, but to their horror, they found themselves at a dead end. They had no choice but to fight the zombie. Even though Caroline was a skilled zombie game player, she was still a bit hesitant facing real zombies. She finally managed to overcome her fear and swung her knife at the zombie, but missed its vital spot. However, the feeling of stabbing a zombie was so satisfying. She then switched to a wooden stick and started hitting the zombie's head, but it seemed to have no effect. Seeing Joe constantly urging her to attack, Caroline came up with a plan. Under her constant stimulation, Joe's every attack was a critical hit. Finally, Caroline picked up a fruit knife and plunged it into the zombie's heart, killing it. It seemed that the heart was their weakness. However, Joe was worried and felt guilty for killing someone, fearing that the police would arrest her and put her in jail. Despite Caroline's reassurance that the dead person was just a zombie and the police wouldn't care, Joe insisted on turning herself in. However, when Joe arrived at the police station, she found out that it had also been overrun by zombies, and all the police officers had turned into zombies. Upon seeing Joe, the zombies started slowly approaching her from all directions. In a panic, Joe ran into a dead-end alley and tried to open a door but failed. She had no choice but to hide in a nearby police car. However, she turned around and saw a prisoner who had turned into a zombie inside the car. Luckily, the zombie was handcuffed, or she would have had a hard time escaping, but she was also trapped in the car with the zombie, who kept snarling at her. Just when she didn't know what to do, the car alarm suddenly went off outside. The zombies were all attracted to the noise, giving Joe a chance to escape. Soon, the car door was opened, and it was Caroline who had come to rescue her. Joe was overjoyed and realized that her little sister was reliable after all. Before leaving, she even taught a lesson to the annoying zombie. However, as they walked away, they suddenly realized that it was the end of the world, and they needed to wear some proper clothes. They immediately went to a clothing store and picked out leather jackets that suited the current situation. As they were about to board the boat, Joe's boyfriend caught up with them. Without hesitation, she threw a pot of flowers at his boyfriend and took advantage of the opportunity to start the big red boat. The boat was fast and kept up with the zombies. At least they were safe now. Little did they know that Joe's ex-boyfriend had hurried to the dock and was bewildered by what he saw. Later, they threw the dead body off the boat, not knowing that there were already 2 survivors sneaking into the cabin. Upon seeing this, Sonny and Steve thought they were ruthless murderers. They rushed out with wooden sticks, ready to fight them. It wasn't until they explained that the dead body was a zombie that they cleared up the misunderstanding and decided to team up. Just as they were about to set off, they encountered a water gate up ahead. They had no choice but to get off the boat and try to push it open. Despite their efforts, the water gate remained immovable, and the zombie horde was getting closer. They had to quickly get back on the boat and use its hull to try and force the water gate open. Luckily, everything went smoothly, and the zombie horde was left behind again. They were about to have a cup of coffee to calm their nerves when Jo looked at the picture on her coffee mug and remembered her ex-boyfriend. She wanted to call him, but things happened too suddenly, and they didn't have time to bring their phones, so Jo decided to go home and get hers. Meanwhile, Caroline decided to fetch the gaming club leader, boasting about his skills and how she had planned everything out. After agreeing on a meeting place, they split up and went their separate ways. Steve went with Jo to find a car. Soon, they arrived on the street, and Steve opened a car door with ease. He then proceeded to start the car with 2 wires, just like in the movies, but it didn't work and triggered the car alarm instead. The nearby zombies were attracted by the noise, but they managed to escape and get back to Jo's house safely. Once Jo got her phone, she used its GPS to locate her ex-boyfriend and left her sister behind to find him. She took their neighbor's car and drove off. While driving and talking on the phone, Jo didn't notice the zombie ahead and crashed into it. The car came to a halt, and she realized the tire was stuck. She had to reverse, but got sprayed in the face with watermelon juice. With the zombies closing in, they had to flee, but Jo's phone died, and they couldn't find her ex-boyfriend. She broke down in tears, but Steve comforted her and helped her calm down. They opened the trunk and managed to escape as the zombies tried to climb into the car. On the other side, Caroline and the others met up with the gaming club leader, Kat, but she looked different from what they expected. Caroline admired Kat's gaming skills and described her real-life crossbow as terrifyingly beautiful. However, Caroline didn't realize that Kat had been bitten by a zombie. As they waited for Jo and Steve, the zombies started gathering on the shore. Kat saw this and showed off her archery skills without hesitation. Caroline looked unexpectedly as Kat fired an arrow. Her archery skills were so poor that she couldn't even hit such a dense group of zombies. However, Kat explained that it was just the quality of the bolts. Sunny instantly felt that Kat was just bragging, but they had no choice but to get on the boat without Jo and Steve, who were still missing. After waiting for a while, they decided to leave without them, but just then, Sunny noticed a bite mark on Kat's arm. Kat claimed that she was bitten accidentally while killing hundreds of zombies. Moreover, she had watched enough zombie movies to know that most viruses are airborne, and getting bitten doesn't necessarily mean getting infected. Sunny pretended to agree with her, but secretly suspected her true identity. He quickly ran into the cabin and told Caroline what he had seen. Caroline, however, couldn't believe that Kat, who was so skilled, could be bitten by a zombie. Sunny said he had encountered many online scammers like Kat before. To prove his theory, Sunny immediately opened Kat's backpack and found her ID. It turned out that Kat wasn't who she claimed to be. Caroline couldn't believe it and confronted Kat with the evidence. Kat had to confess that she wasn't the real gaming club leader, and the backpack was just something she had picked up on the road. But before they could react, Kat turned into a zombie and attacked them. Sunny fell into the river, and Caroline became a target for the zombies' attack. She decisively chose to climb onto the roof of the boat, but she didn't expect the zombies to follow her up there. Luckily, her crossbow was still there, and she shot at the zombie's thigh, making it angry and more determined to attack her. At a critical moment, Caroline shot another arrow and hit the zombie's heart. After pulling Sunny back onto the boat, Jo and Steve finally arrived. They quickly started the boat and left the area with the zombies closing in. However, as they passed a hotel, Steve suddenly remembered his friends who had stayed there before the outbreak. They might still be there, so Caroline, Steve, and Sunny decided to investigate while Jo stayed behind to guard the boat. Just before leaving, Caroline specifically instructed that if they didn't return within 2 hours, they should wait for another half hour. The three then entered the hotel. They initially wanted to take the elevator up, but feared that a zombie might suddenly emerge from it. For safety reasons, they had to take the stairs. After arriving on the designated floor, Steve began searching for his friend's room. Unexpectedly, a zombie suddenly appeared in the corridor. To make matters worse, a large group of zombies appeared at the other end of the hallway. The three thought they were doomed, but suddenly a man appeared from a room nearby. He was Steve's friend. The three immediately took refuge in the room, seeing that his friend was still alive. Steve couldn't help but hug him, but the zombies didn't seem to leave. They were trapped in the room. Little did they know that at that moment, Jo, with blood all over her face, decided to take matters into her own hands and take a hot shower in the hotel. Soon, she found a random room and lay comfortably on the bed. It was a rare luxury in the apocalypse, but the zombies below didn't see it that way. Helpless, Jo had to return. She used a small trick to lure the zombies away. Meanwhile, the people in the room also thought of a way to escape, which was to smash through the floor below. But then Rob said there was another friend tied up on the rooftop by their pranks. Caroline felt speechless and had to change tactics and smash through the floor above instead. After some effort, they successfully broke through the floor. They planned to take the elevator again to the rooftop, but found a zombie inside. This time, Caroline once again demonstrated her intelligence. She took a siren and threw it into the elevator when the zombie wasn't paying attention. When the zombie was attracted, she immediately pressed the button for the first floor. This successfully got rid of the zombie, who knew that Jo happened to come to the elevator on the first floor and almost collided with the zombie head-on. Seeing the group of zombies behind her, Jo had to run away. At this time, Caroline and her group had already arrived on the rooftop and saw their friend who had been tied up. Fortunately, he was unharmed. Rob quickly climbed up to help him untie himself. But at this moment, a zombie dancer suddenly broke in through the door. Her target was clear. She chased after Steve and kept biting him because he didn't tip her the night before. Seeing Steve in danger, the others rushed forward to help throw the zombie off the roof. Meanwhile, Jo, who had just lured the zombies away, was splashed with blood from the falling zombie. Just as they were about to return to the boat, a large group of zombies arrived on the rooftop. In desperation, Caroline quickly called for Jo to move the boat away. As they planned to jump into the river below, Jo immediately started the engine, but however, they discovered a vertical shaft with a ladder when the boat had only driven 2.5 meters away. They used it to climb down to the ground floor, but Rob and another friend did not plan to board the boat, because they felt that driving was the wise choice in the apocalypse. Under the end of the world, in the boat is simply a fool's behavior, so the four people can only start the big red boat again and begin a new road to survival.